craziness, bloodshed, and betrayal. These are the main things which make the movie Training Day what it is. We've got our two main characters, Alonzo and Jake. Jake is the main character as he's shown to be the rookie who's to be taken under the wing of Alonzo and learn his way around the streets. Despite me saying this, let's be real, this is Alonzo's world and we're just living in it. This dude is beyond crazy, and that's just the beginning. Allow me to give you a rundown of everything he's done. He got Jake to do PCB and trip balls on his first day, set up his friend, shoot him and take his money, left Jake with some murderous Mexicans, and went off to pay his debt with the Russian mafia. It's like the bad things keep on coming one after the other, and honestly, it's kind of fun to watch. Say what you want about Alonzo and his crooked cop ways, but Denzel Washington definitely made him the life of the party. Every single little mannerism he had, switching expressions from happy to serious real quick, and his dialogue made the movie worth the watch. I'm gonna tell y'all a secret that I haven't said on the internet before. I haven't watched Training Day until around now, just before making the script. Blasphemy, I know. People always told me that this was one of those movies that I needed to watch, and for the longest, I put it off, making a whole bunch of excuses here and there. But after all this time, I can definitely say that this was worth the watch. I like how Jake was a perfect contrast to Alonzo. He can be seen as a goody two-shoe sometimes, but in comparison to Alonzo, who's breaking every rule and law in sight with little to no regard for who he kills, is it really that wrong for him to be that way? Jake is shown to have morals and a good heart, as the same sentiment is echoed loud and clear by Alonzo the entire film. Despite Alonzo being a dirty piece of trash, I do believe that part of him cared to see Jake succeed, and that he actually did care about him. Remember when him and his boys came to bust up and betray one of his acquaintances at his own house? Jake is rattled, and rightfully so, especially when Alonzo asks him to shoot the old man. So Jake gets into a fit of rage, grabs his gun off of him, and is determined on shooting Alonzo and ending this madness once and for all. Even though all of Alonzo's men are itching to blow Jake's head off his shoulders, Alonzo shouts for them not to shoot Jake multiple times. Think about it. If he was truly heartless, wouldn't it have been in his nature to have Jake killed right then and there? I mean, all it would have taken was a single word and Jake would have went night-night for a very long time. There was also a scene early on in which Jake gets Alonzo to pull over in an attempt to stop two hobos from raping this one Hispanic girl. Jake gets his ass kicked at first, but eventually he starts fighting back and manages to turn back the odds in his favor. Even Alonzo watches afar, admiring Jake's good work. Then they find out that the girl was 14 and that Jake wanted to lock these guys up. However, Alonzo tells him to leave them alone as they were the fish fry and he wanted them to go after the big fish like the drug dealers and mob bosses. Later on in the movie, Alonzo takes Jake to some Mexican's place to do a solid on behalf of his informant. He says he'll be back in a minute and Jake is getting his balls busted by these Mexican dudes. Pause! Jokes aside, it was mad funny to see them bantering around, but then things do start to get tense as he wonders where Alonzo is. Fortunately, the big boss of these guys lets him know that Alonzo went on without him and went on to get his money to pay off the Russian mob. Yeah, about that. He's got a debt of $1 million to pay them as a result of killing one of their top guys. Yes, you heard that right. I believe one time he was in Vegas and he got into an altercation with a Russian dude who was, unbeknownst to him, a really important guy. As much as he kept deflecting the seriousness of the situation throughout the entire film, it was made evident by everyone that these guys are not to be taken lightly. Cutting back to Jake, he's beaten up and he's about to see the Lord, courtesy of the Mexicans. However, his saving grace comes in the form of the Mexican girl he saved earlier, who so happens to be related to the boss. So eventually, they cut him loose and let him go. Pissed off and bloodied, he comes back to confront Alonzo at his baby mama's apartment. They have a shootout, a chase, and a punch-on, and man, it's insane. Jake even jumps down from the apartment building onto Alonzo's cars as he's getting away. Gotta love this movie. Eventually, Jake manages to get the drop on this fool, Alonzo, and whoops his ass, rightfully so. Then all the members of the hood come around and spectate. Alonzo makes an offer for one of them to kill Jake in return for making their life better. However, none of them are budging and the reality starts to settle in for Alonzo that he's screwed and alone. All his actions through the movie and his life are all starting to bite him back in the ass. Whoever knew your actions had consequences? Clearly not Alonzo. It's in this scene as Jake is walking off, Alonzo says the iconic line, "You think you could do this shit to me?" I used to see that scene and the "my nigga" line at the beginning of the film in meme compilations and random clips. But to see them in context made them so much better, especially the former. Because even at his wit's end, Alonzo still comes off as charming and funny. Fortunately, he somehow let her alive and drives off. At a red light, he eyes this chick across him in a massive ass vehicle. It then occurs to him and to us that his time's up and he's going to pay one way or another. He tries to drive off, but he is cornered by these big Russian dudes and their massive guns, and they get to work on this boy. By the end of their shots, they end up having Alonzo and his car look like Swiss cheese and ketchup. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, and this is Black Sugar Lovin', out.